So there's obviously been a lot of talks about what's going to happen with the market. Are we going to go in a recession? Is the S&P going down? Is the Nasdaq going down? There's a lot of companies right now which are in the gray area. So it's kind of confusing, and we're getting Bitcoin spot ETF. It's very confusing to know if crypto is about to crash as well. So basically what we're going to do with this entire episode is cover what is going on in terms of the technical side of things and relating into the charts, and then also the fundamental, like what we think is going to happen and what we're doing with our money right now to protect ourselves. So let's just dive right in, bro. Go ahead, share your screen. But before he does all that, please make sure you guys like the video and subscribe to the channel, because it really does help us out a lot. But let's get right in, bro. What do you think is going on?
All right, so as you guys see right here, we tend to bring on these charts, and if you guys remember, every time you see the direction going up, that means that the price of the asset was going up. So right now we're looking at the S&P 500. All right, this is a chart of the S&P 500, and this is the weekly, which means every candle represents 1 week. So as you see, for the past multiple weeks, we just been going up and up and up and up. And then as you see, the past 3 weeks, we've been going down. All right, so it's like people are trying to say, hey, man, this might be the pullback we've been waiting on. But then there's concern now, is this pullback going to go super low where we're going back to bear market lows? Or is this pullback pretty much just going to be a small retracement to eventually go back up and make our way to all-time highs? And my prediction, I would say that I like to follow the trend, right? So I think this is just a pullback to eventually go higher. It's going to be... It's a lot that's going to have to come out, though, when it comes to, like, Jerome Powell, for example. He's speaking at the end of this week at Jackson Hole. We got to see what he's talking about. We got to see interest rates. We want to see what's really going on a fundamental level before we can say where it's going to bounce at. Like, on a technical level, yeah, there's potential to bounce in this area. But, when you kind of look at the monthly chart, it doesn't really look too great either if you know, like, what you're looking for. So we're definitely at a crucial point on the S&P, and we're going to get into detail about what we're doing with our money. I just want to kind of paint the picture for y'all first. So right now, overall S&P, there's a pullback going on. How deep? We'll see. The Nasdaq, same thing going on. You see the exact same type of pullback, right? The last 3 weeks, I can zoom in here. The last 3 weeks have been red for the Nasdaq. I'm looking for the Nasdaq to at least, if you chart NQ, people who do charts, I'm looking for it to come back to at least 39.17. People who follow that, and I want to see what it does under there, basically, for the Nasdaq. And it's not just the stock market. A lot of us been following crypto. And Newski mentioned earlier about their speculation on whether or not we'll get that spot ETF from BlackRock and all them that apply for it. So that's still being worked out. But you guys might have heard, man, but lately Bitcoin has been absolutely dying. You can see the sell-off that occurred.
Yeah, they had a massive pullback.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how did you feel about, like, watching this occur? You watched it go from basically 31 to 26.
Yeah, so obviously on this channel, we've been pushing the fact that we think crypto is going to be solid. We have belief in crypto, et cetera, et cetera. But I will say, like, I think as an investor, you have to be mindful of what's going on. And if you still believe in the investment, I still believe in Bitcoin. I still believe in Ethereum and the top dogs. But to your point, I actually stopped investing when it was pulling back at around 30K. Like I stopped DCAing at that point. And thankfully, I mean, I don't know if you could view it as a good or bad, but I wanted to see what was a catalyst that could push this back up. Because you don't want to just invest in something and then just sit there and be like, oh, what's going to happen? There has to be something that's pushing it back up. That's why when we invest in great companies, so the same method and the same principle would apply to crypto. You want to invest in great things that make sense rather than just staying stagnant. So right now, my biggest thing, I see the pullback. My biggest thing is, are we going to have a catalyst, which is the spot ETF, which other countries are approving, which we'll get into. But I didn't feel too great. But at the same time, I think it's normal for this. It's just very volatile still.
Because I know we were actually talking earlier and you were mentioning how this isn't the first time Bitcoin has had like a super deep pullback, and it's like,
this is not even that deep for them. This is baby stuff.
Yeah, this is baby stuff. But one thing the point I've been making is like, Bitcoin, is supposed to be like an inflationary hedge, and people have that vision for the coin. And we had the highest inflation that we had since like 1980, 81 last year, and Bitcoin suffered with everything else. It didn't stand out how we wanted it to. It's like it wasn't ready for the big moment, because that was the first real bear market that Bitcoin was a part of. And so it didn't impress me last year. I like the fact that it's been up like over 100% this year and it's doing a good comeback, but it didn't break out how it could have. It didn't break out too much.
I hear that, but over the last like year to date, or not year to date, actually, just over the last year in general, it was up 25%, which is why I was personally like, okay, like, yeah, it's supposed to be speculative, it's supposed to be very volatile, but to be honest, like, it's actually doing better than the S&P even in just the last year. So it's something that you can hold on to if you still believe in it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that are going to lose faith. I'm not one of those people, but I still believe, so I'm gonna hold it.
Yeah, I'm actually very in between on Bitcoin right now. I love, I've been vocal about how much I love crypto, but the technicals to me don't look too good. When I look at the monthly chart, it's very concerning to me. But we're at some crucial points. I think regardless, I think Bitcoin is going to come down to like mid 22,000s. And then I want to see what it does in this overall area, right here between 22 and 19. I want to see what it does in there. And last thing I'll show here is Mara. Mara looks really bearish to me.
Let's explain what Mara is real quick.
Yeah. Mara is basically, it's a stock, but that stock is directly correlated to Bitcoin. So you could just look at it as a stock you could trade that's going to follow Bitcoin's price. Because when Bitcoin goes up, so does Mara. When it goes down, Mara goes down. So as you see, Bitcoin's been going down lately. Mara's been going down lately. But from a technical perspective, I see Mara almost certainly getting under 855. And under there, I guess really spooky under there, because under there, 5 looks good to me as well. And so just $3. But it's a long way to go before it gets down there. But I'm just saying it looks bad. And if Mara looks bad, to me, Bitcoin will follow suit. So I'm very concerned. And those are the charts. I guess we could talk like what we're actually doing, right?
Yeah. So let's get into that, right? So right now, I think, guys, like, if you're still watching, by the way, please hit that like button, because it really does help out the channel a lot. And we want you guys to stick around, because now we're going to talk about what we have been doing with our personal money. So I'll go first, I guess. I will say I sold all my NVIDIA position besides, I think, 10%. I think I only hold on 10%. And I'm not selling because I don't believe in the stock, right? It's not that. We made over like 200, I think we made over 300% return, or 250 around on that stock. So it made sense to sell it, because once again, what is the catalyst that I have that says it's going to go higher? I don't know if I have a catalyst, which is why I want to pull my money out and buy back at companies. Like, I just bought a little bit of Tesla. I just bought a little bit of Microsoft. I just bought a little bit of Apple, because I see these prices at a point where if I'm going to buy at 10,000 of each, there's nothing wrong with buying 1,000 at this price right now. And if it goes lower, I will buy more. And that's where I'm doing my money, because I'm investing in good companies. Because if we do see a pullback, which I think, Rel, both of us are on the same page, like, we do see a pullback coming, you want to be in great companies during those pullbacks. You don't want to be in any bad companies, because you don't know if the pullback is going to be a pullback for those bad companies. It just might be a crash for those companies. So it doesn't make sense to hold them, which is why, personally, I'm investing in those great companies at lower prices. In terms of ETFs, every single month, nothing has changed for me. I invest in QQQ, I invest in VOO, and I invest in VTI every month with my eyes closed, and I sleep like a baby, because I know I have my savings set. I know I have my ETF set. If the market pulls back, I have a lot of cash from the NVIDIA gains. I sold my Tesla, I sold a little bit of my Apple, I sold a little bit of Microsoft at high price points. We're not gurus by any chance, but we're able to tell when, Rel, like, is this a high price? Do you think it's high? If I get him to say, yeah, and I think there's no catalyst for it to go higher, I'm selling. And it just happens to have been working out for us for the last year and a half, 2 years, where we're able to sell at good points, buy back in at low points, and then run it up again. So that's been my approach, and I think so far it's been pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's been working out for you well. And I did the same thing with Nvidia. Like we pretty much had the same average close. We did the same thing. I took the same exact actions, have a little bit of Nvidia left. We capitalized, and we're gonna both plan on getting back in at a lower price. And if it never comes back that low again, hey, we made some good money on it regardless. You know
Bro,
what I'm
you
saying?
have other money, like, you know what I mean? The invest in other companies that are at a lower price, like Nvidia. Do I really think it's going to go from 500 to 1,000? That would have to be 100% return and a
Where's that?
massive run up and a massive market cap switch. Versus a Tesla, do I see it go from like, can it go from 190 to 300? Yeah, it actually can, based on its market cap. That would be a better return and more possible.
Yeah, exactly. Because everybody FOMOs into them very popular companies. Not saying Tesla's not popular, but Nvidia right now is the darling of the stock market. So everybody FOMOs into it. But it's like you got to look at a risk to reward perspective. Where it's like it's already so high. How much higher does it really have to go? Especially reaching that $1 trillion market cap and stuff. Like, what's the odds versus getting an undervalued company? So I'm completely with you there. Now, something that I did recently that might shock a lot of you is I sold all of my crypto. Every last dime I have in crypto, I sold it with the intent of getting back in lower. I'm looking at the monthly charts, and I'm pretty much, there are definitely some key points that can allow something like Bitcoin to bounce. But for me, it's like if Bitcoin bounces there and it goes past the point where I sold it, I might get back in and I might have to buy it higher than where I sold it. But what I do, and I guess that's the skill set, is I'm a trader. So I'm trading the money in the meanwhile. So to me, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be getting a return on my money anyways. So I could pull out a whole lump sum. I pulled out a lot of money in the crypto just now. I'm gonna trade that, make money on top of it. Yep. If crypto goes low to where I see it going, let's say Bitcoin goes down to like 15K, I can buy it back with more capital, which is amazing. Now I have an even better average cost on Bitcoin, and I'm in an even better position. If Bitcoin never goes that low and it goes to 40K or something, I'm making money on it in the meanwhile anyways, so I'm chilling. But I wanted to be vocal that it's like, I'm definitely a little bearish on crypto for the intermediate term, and I want to see where it goes next, honestly.
Yeah, no, I think look, at the end of the day, guys, if you haven't noticed, we might have different strategies and different things. Like he has sold his crypto because he sees it coming down, and I'm holding on to it because my average cost is around the price where I feel comfortable with it, right? I don't mind it. So if it goes lower, I might sell as well. But as of right now, I'm not buying more because it's unstable. You don't want to invest in things that are unstable at the time. There has to be a catalyst that could push it forward. And that applies to anything in life, in the stock market, in crypto market, in businesses in general. So that's what we're personally doing. But for you guys, right, we always tell you, in the last video, I think we talked about Warren Buffett. We talked about how his portfolio looks. You guys could copy his portfolio. You guys could go and copy like the S&P portfolio, the top 10 companies or top 3 or 4. Just make your own portfolio with the best companies that make sense. And I promise you, from 15% return is boring in people's eyes. But if you look at Microsoft, it's gone up, 1,000% in the last 10 years. So I think on average, you're netting like 100% a year. Come on, bro. You can't beat that. No one's going to be upset at you. So at the end of the day, dollar cost averaging into great companies, into amazing ETFs is going to be very, very lucrative over the long period.
I'm gonna say one more thing on that is, we talk about like the NASDAQ, we talk about QQQ, which will allow you to invest in the NASDAQ via an ETF. There's something called TQQQ, which a play that I plan on doing, and I'm also recommending to my family, and maybe people might like the idea is, you can invest in QQQ, but TQQQ is the triple leverage version, which means if QQQ goes up 3%, TQQQ goes up 9%. Of course, on the downside, that's bad because if QQQ goes down 3, TQQQ goes down 9. Right? So using my technicals and everything, because I know how to break down a chart, I'm gonna tell me and my family when it's a good time to buy TQQQ. So we're gonna get in at the bottom. That way, there's a whole lot more upside than there is downside, and that's when we'll get in. So I'm not buying TQQQ yet. I want to wait for the bottom of this pullback. Then I'm gonna get into TQQQ, and that's a great ETF to get into. It's safe. It's still the NASDAQ. It's just an accelerated version of the NASDAQ. So it's a good play that people could look into. It worked out very well from the bear market into now. So we'll see what happens in this upcoming pullback into the future run up?
In October, we bought NVIDIA at 181, and that's when Rel was saying T-Triple-Q is a good option. Go back and look at the price in October to now, and y'all can do the math yourself. And as I said, we're not saying this to say like we're gurus by any chance, but y'all have to really pay attention to how markets work. Like when we first started, we were really not good at investing. We had to go through a lot of errors, and we don't want y'all to make the same mistake. So hopefully you like this, right? Like if the recession hits, y'all know what to do. For bear markets hits, y'all know what to do. We try to give you all the best gems possible. And now you guys know what we're doing with our money as well. But if you're still watching, thank you. We appreciate you a lot. Please make sure you hit the like button and subscribe and comment any thoughts you have. Plus hit that little notification button because we drop
Cool videos a week.
And you don't want to miss them, man. Thank you. We appreciate you. Check us out on Wednesday. But until then, peace.
Peace.
Soundstripe.